Just imagine being forced out of your job and chucked out of your home on the same day. The life of a Prime Minister is full of twists, turns and turbulence, but it's always toughest at the end.
I do not think it would be right for me to try to be the captain that steers our country to its next destination.
After all, most political careers end in failure.
I do so with no ill will, but with enormous and enduring gratitude to have had the opportunity to serve the country I love.
So what do you do after you've held the country's top job? Which perks do you keep and which do you lose? The biggest perk to be given up is perhaps the home itself, a spacious 4-bedroom flat above number 11 Downing Street. Central London location, period features, 24-hour security and use of a large garden. Perfect for entertaining. Ex-Prime Ministers also forego use of Chequers, a luxurious official country residence in Buckinghamshire. And the RAF Voyager, a plane used by the royal family and senior ministers, is also off limits. As for Larry the Cat, well, he's not moving anywhere. Some silver linings that come with the pressure of being Prime Minister do last a lifetime. All former PMs get to keep their armed close protection teams, which means an armoured car too. They are entitled to claim up to £115,000 a year to cover office and secretarial costs. This is called the Public Duty Cost Allowance and is intended to help former PMs continue to play a part in public life. They are also entitled to stay at British embassies and capital cities across the globe, but only if visits support UK government objectives. Some Prime Ministers are creatures of the Commons and stay on as MPs. Ted Heath stuck around for another 27 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're leaving Downing Street for the last time.
Margaret Thatcher made a tearful exit from Downing Street. After 11 and a half years as PM, she soon swapped the green benches for the red ones, taking her seat as Baroness Thatcher in the House of Lords. She also set up a foundation, advised the tobacco company Philip Morris, and wrote 3 books.
When the curtain falls, it's time to get off the stage, and that is what I propose to do.
John Major's instinct after losing the 1997 election was to head to the Oval.
After that, I hope that Norma and I will be able, with the children, to get to the Oval in time for lunch and for some cricket this afternoon.
He took on a series of corporate roles, turned down a peerage, and was also appointed a special guardian to Princes William and Harry, helping with their legal affairs after the death of their mother, Princess Diana. In 2007, Tony Blair left Number 10 and left Parliament on the same day.
I've come back here to Sedgefield, to my constituency, where my political journey began and where it's fitting that it should end.
He became Middle East envoy for the Quartet, the grouping of the United Nations, United States, European Union and Russia. Now Sir Tony Blair, he advised foreign governments and major companies, reportedly earning tens of millions of pounds, wrote his autobiography.
Writing my memoir, A Journey, has been a fascinating and enjoyable experience.
Responded to the Chilcot inquiry into the 2003 invasion of Iraq and unsuccessfully campaigned against Brexit.
They've literally created this issue of Brexit as if it's the answer to the country's problems, when it's literally the answer to nothing.
His successor, Gordon Brown, took a different approach.
And as I leave the second most important job I could ever hold, I cherish even more the first, as a husband and father. Thank you, and goodbye.
Leaving Number 10 with his wife and 2 sons, he moved back to Scotland, played a key role in the 2014 Scottish independence referendum, became UN Special Envoy for Global Education, and gave much of his earnings from books and speeches to charity. David Cameron's departure in 2016 was sudden. Soon after he lost the EU referendum, a shock result.
I will do everything I can as Prime Minister to steady the ship over the coming weeks and months. But I do not think it would be right for me to try to be the captain that steers our country to its next destination. I mean, I said, of course, it's a sad night for me because I didn't want to be in this position. I wanted Britain to stay in a reformed European Union.
He became president of Alzheimer's Research UK and took on various corporate jobs. His work with one of them, the scandal-hit financial services company Greensill Capital, damaged his reputation. Mr Cameron lobbied the government on the firm's behalf before it collapsed.
I will shortly leave the job that it has been the honour of my life to hold.
Theresa May had a painful departure from power in the midst of the Brexit deadlock.
The second female Prime Minister, but certainly not the last.
But she followed John Major's example and the next day was spotted watching the cricket at Lord's. She has stayed in Parliament, occasionally making spiky interventions in debates.
Why then is the new National Security Advisor a political appointee with no proven expertise in national security?
Mrs May has a lucrative sideline in corporate speeches, earning between £38,000 and £136,000 a pop. And she is said to have an eye on another big job, Secretary General of NATO, a role yet to be held by a woman. The only official engagement when all former Prime Ministers gather together is Remembrance Sunday, when they meet alongside the royal family at the cenotaph to commemorate servicemen and women who have lost their lives in wars and conflicts. When Boris Johnson's premiership comes to an end, his wife Carrie and their two children, Wilfred and Romy, will move out of their newly and expensively refurbished Downing Street flat. Mr Johnson will lose almost half of his £161,401 salary. He will keep the £81,932 he receives as MP for Uxbridge and West Ruislip, unless, of course, he decides to stand down from Parliament. But what might he do next? The international speaking circuit is a surefire way for former world leaders to cash in.
Yesterday I went, as we all must, to Peppa Pig World.
In the past, Mr Johnson has earned big, writing columns for the Daily Telegraph and authoring books. He was supposed to be writing one about William Shakespeare. Its publication has been repeatedly delayed. But the most painful adjustment of all is surely losing the power. From being here at the heart of the action, making massive decisions, meeting world leaders, to life away from government, with far fewer commitments, where the phone doesn't ring quite as much, and also knowing, whatever the next challenge, nothing will compete with this.